Now that we are fighting terrorism
Right.
within the United States, how should we blend the protection of the homeland and civil rights?
Well, I think that we have a Constitution that makes a lot of those decisions for us. The Constitution says that we have separation of powers, and we have power centers throughout the states, and we have checks and balances, and all those things are designed to make sure that individual freedom and liberty is preserved. Obviously, at times of war, there are some areas in which those liberties may be restricted. When we are experiencing threats like we are with terrorism, which is not a conventional war, but obviously threatens people potentially, there may be areas in which we make modifications. But we have to keep in mind the core principles of the Constitution and civil liberties, and that's something I think this administration has failed to do.
They passed the Patriot Act. Would you have supported the Patriot Act?
No, I would not have. And I think that the Patriot Act is a good example of fundamental principles being violated. And I'll give you some examples of things I would have supported after 9/11. It used to be that you couldn't get a wiretap on a roving phone. And that was because it used to be that all our phones were located in a particular place, and you could get a warrant for that wiretap. That obviously doesn't make sense at a time when everybody's using cell phones, and so that was a necessary modification of the law that was incorporated into the Patriot Act. That provision I would have supported. On the other hand, you've got a whole host of provisions in which the executive branch, the Justice Department, can unilaterally go in without warrants and engage in searches without having first gone to a judge. And one of the basic principles that protects our civil liberties is we've got somebody watching the watchers, that we've got somebody that John Ashcroft has to go to say, look, I have a reason for suspicion. There's a reason why I want to look through Terry's emails. Here's my proof that there's probable cause. That basic principle, I think, has been violated. And I think beyond that, other than the Patriot Act, we also have had some disturbing practices in which the administration has arrested people without due process, without them being able to access an attorney. And that basic principle of habeas corpus, of being able to know what you're charged with, being able to get information to mount a defense, has been violated in a troubling number of ways. And those are areas where I think the Democrats need to stand up vigorously, precisely because we don't, I think it was Ben Franklin who said those who would be willing to trade liberty for security usually end up with neither. So we need to make some significant changes in that area.